Okay, look what came into the mail today. This is a deck that I ordered in the Marseille tradition. I guess I'm a little too zoomed in here. Because I have this gorgeous deck, which is the Tarocco di Marsiglia, I guess Marsiglia maybe, which is an El Menegalo deck that was gifted to me by Etsy, and I adore this deck and I use this deck, but I would never take this out of the house because it's beautiful and it's hand done at a beautiful shop in Milan, and it's just gorgeousness, and I truthfully would never take this out of my apartment. And so I kind of wanted a working deck that I wouldn't have to worry about that with, as well as, I mean, this is a working deck. I use this deck, but I also wanted this different style of artwork, more of the painting style than the woodcut style. So I thought I'd go ahead and get this Lo Scarabeo version because A, it would be another style of Marseille deck for me, but it would also be a deck that I could, if I wanted to, throw into my purse and take with me and not have to, have a heart attack about it. So this, the Ancient Italian Tarot by Lo Scarabeo, is a reproduction of and I could be, if I'm wrong, because it doesn't, I think, we'll see if it says in the little white book, but I'm pretty sure that this is a reproduction of a reproduction. So the original deck was, I think, an 1835 deck painted by Della Rocca. And then it was reprinted in 1880, but I think that they're pretty much the same exact decks. So you can see it's in a little tuck box, nothing fancy, typical Lo Scarabeo box. And they called it the Ancient. I spent a lot of time with Etsy on Skype trying to decide which, I have several El Menegalo decks on my wish list right now. One is so high on it, but I really wanted to fill in 2 slots before I started to get ones that I just, wanted and that cost a little bit more money, is that I really wanted one, again, that was, I wouldn't be worried to take out of the house and was a little bit of a different art style. So let's just see if it says where this particular one comes, although I'm pretty sure about what I've just said. No. Wait here. Art collection. Here we go. ATS, the 1880 version, which is, again, a reproduction of the 1835 version. So it does have a little white book. Of course, it's typical Lo Scarabeo, so we should get about 14 pages of English. A quick little sentence or so of each thing. And when we get to the minors, it's pretty much keywords. So that's typical, and there's not much to spend on that time-wise. Here we have, obviously, their art card, and I do really love the backs of these. Let me zoom in a little closer. I do look at those. I mean, that to me is gorgeous. I quite love the backings on these. And then when you turn them over, you can see they're a little, these are going to be more, they kind of still look like they're woodcuts. I might be wrong about that. They still have the look of a woodcut to a little bit of a degree. This isn't like a full-on, but you can just see the difference. This one was an 1804. The one that I have is an 1804. And you can see just how the paint, each of the colors at least, are hand painted versus this kind of woodcut and then wash of color that they would do. Let's see if I can find the Fool card real quick. There it is. So here we have, you can just see there's much more limited color that's here. We have much more of a kind of painted look to it, although some of the lining still kind of looks like it may be a wood cut, printed and then hand painted. So I'm not sure. Somebody I'm sure will be much more knowing about the historical aspects of things than I do. But here we have the Fool. And I do like, for Lo Scarabeo, we don't have all the different languages, because there was another one called, I think, the Classic Tarot, or Classical Tarot, but it had, and there was another form of this one with a bunch of keywords and things along the side that really off-balanced it. So again, a lot of time spent picking this particular one out for just a another version, and one that is going to be something I don't worry about. But here we have the Fool going off on his journey. We have the Magician, who looks to be more of a cobbler or a tradesman, but he is working with his hands. We have the High Priestess, is quite beautiful. You can just see a lot of difference in the faces. I think that, oh, here's the, I guess I'll show you that. He's more of a street magician in this one, whereas this, I think he's actually supposed to be a cobbler, but he has more of the tools of his trade in front of him. Here's the Empress, which is much more of an empress, you know, like a goes with the emperor. I wish they were looking at each other, but they're not. But look at how regal they are. Definitely more of a regal version of the Empress, but she's also quite beautiful. I love it. Here we have the Hierophant. Again, very typical. Not much, to my opinion, changed with the majors or with the majors from the Marseille to the Rider-Waite-Smith versions. I really like the difference in that you have the lovers, or you have the lover. So you have Hercules having to decide between the two. I like that her hand is over her heart. I like that their hands together are over her stomach for that idea of possibility of children moving on. So we have sort of the young versus the older and wiser choice here. But look where Cupid is pointing at. Here we have the Chariot. Justice. Quite lovely. I do love these little like cinches that they all seem to have around them. Obviously it was of the time period, but you can see it on her as well. I love this Hermit. How wonderful is that? And so you can really just see the difference. You just have a much more expression in the face and shift. This again is from 1804. This would have been from 1835. Love this wheel. I do really like traditional sort of medieval wheels. Here is the Strength card. I'm not overly thrilled with most Marseille Strength cards, but that's because I have a pretty strong feeling about the Strength card. I don't tend to like the ones where they're forcing their mouths open. I tend to look at it as they're able to put their hand in the mouth. I actually quite like her better. She doesn't seem to be being quite as forceful, but yeah, that's better than some Marseilles where you have where it looks like somebody's beating a lion. Here we have the Hanged Man. Death. And this is quite interesting because look what we have all on the bottom. We have worldly possessions. That's quite interesting to me. We have, well, here we got a painter's palette. We've got books. We've got kind of the dross, the things that don't really matter. So that, you know, versus, you know, the actual person. So I think that's quite interesting. Here we have Temperance. The Devil is quite crazy. The Devil cards in the Marseille deck are very interesting also. But you can see he's even being entangled, so we do have that sense of when you kind of give yourself over to excess and to abdicate your power, that you even yourself get all tangled up in things. It's quite interesting. Typical Tower. This guy's actually laying on the ground with boards on him. Oh dear. Lovely Star. The Moon, I like that the lobster is served up on a platter. That gives me the giggles. And he's sitting here, I don't know if he's gonna chow down or what we're gonna have happening there. Here we have the Sun, which is quite lovely. Happiness, we have two people. A lot of times I've seen two people. Sometimes two men, sometimes two overgrown cherubby looking people, but this one we have a man and a woman. Judgment seems to be fairly typical in the Marseille decks. And this is quite a lovely World card. Very much a sense of abundance. We have fire here. We have the animals here with the angel. I think it's quite lovely. Here we have the cups. So we're getting into the suits. So that would be the cup. I actually quite like this one over that. But let me split these up. These will obviously go much faster because they are pip cards, but I just want to show you. I actually, one of the reasons I picked this one was because of the pips, which for me are more important than the majors, because the pips, you know, are pips. But there are directionality issues that I really want to see. Now that I've done a lot of studying on the Marseille deck, there are certain things that I personally look for, and that aren't always the case, you know, depending on which deck. I love that. I'm going to be doing a video on court cards this week for the Marseille deck. And so I'm happy to have this, to at least have two different. So there we have the aces, which I think are gorgeous. I love this particular pentacle. This is fantastic. Again, still have the hand and on these two, and still have these separate, but they're really beautiful. Although again, I really love, you know, this is kind of, this deck is my first love. So, I still quite love the aces in this deck. Now here, but you can just see the difference in art between this and this one. It's just, there's definitely been a shift there in art style. Okay, so I'm mixing things up here. Oh, I want to leave this out too. One of the other things that was really important to me in a Marseille deck, in the pips, there's a couple things, and we'll talk about those as we get to them. Let me take the swords and the wands and the pentacles and the cups. That's how the order that I always do my, because that's how I do 4 elements and those kinds of things. So here we have the swords. One of the things that was important to me is that we had the curved swords and the straight batons or wands. That to me makes things quite easy to see in a pip deck when you have a large spread out, and I really like that. I like that aspect. So here you can see, I think this is gorgeous. I love the swords and the wands in this deck, but these are still curved. They still have that central unit here, where here we have it kind of broken with the red here. We have that as well here. That's important in terms of pip cards being kind of mirroring, and the way that I read pip cards, it's important to have that split there, and it has that. Even where these red things are, there are little red ties. So it's it stays very much to the tradition of even the older Marseille decks. It cleans up. It has a little bit of fresher art for its time. But again, the curved and the swords and the straight batons or wands are quite important to me in pip decks for Marseille. I have found I quite like that. So here, of course, they have the 4 numbers here versus having the Roman numerals on the sides. But that's pretty unobtrusive. Same thing here. We have the 4 numbers in the corner for the majors, which is still a lot better than what a lot of low Scarabeo decks are, so I'll take it. We have 3 cutting through. I love this beautiful sword cutting through. We go to the 4. I love that we have actually different foliage in the middle. We have acorns here, that sense of stability, right? So that actually goes, and the berries speak of fertility and growth and creation, whereas the acorns do speak of strength. Then we have the 5 cutting through. Then we have the 6s, which is a harmony. Then we have the 7s. I love how they've done this, and this 7's kind of pointing down. Back to the berries, 8, because this is double stability, which really should, I guess, been the acorns. So I guess maybe those don't necessarily have anything to do. And then we have the 10 of swords with the crossed sword. So I quite like the sword suit. It stays how, I see my deck, my first deck, and is quite lovely. So here we have the page, the knight on the horse, the lovely queen, and again, I just love the Marseille Queen of Swords with her hand over her heart. So that is quite important to me, I believe. And that was one of the things when I saw this particular Queen of Swords that I was really happy to see. Yeah, so this was one of the reasons I really like this deck, because the Queen of Swords has her hand over her heart. Oftentimes the Queen of Swords is shown as a bit cold, and directionality and where the hands are important, and I love that her hand's over her heart because she is empathetic, because she's known a lot of sorrow, and so she may hold the sword of truth, but she also has empathy, and I love that. Here we have the King of Swords, or Spades. You can see that there. And then we get to the Wands. Again, I'll go quickly. I like the Ace. Look at how beautiful that is. That's just quite gorgeous. The 3, the 4, the 5, the 6 harmony, the 7, the 8, 9 cutting through, and the 10 with the 2 cutting through. So pretty traditional. I love that they left a lot of times the Page of Wands seems to have a ginormous wand, or more like a club. These are quite clubbish. The Knight, the Queen, like she's going to go zombie bashing here. But look how lovely they are. The Queens are quite beautiful. The King, love this Ace. Love this. I'm finding when I am looking at Marseille decks, I'm really looking at the 2 of Pentacles. I love the 2 of Pentacles in Marseille decks, and that's quite gorgeous. You still get that movement going around it that is beautiful. I quite like this. 3, again, 2, look how gorgeous that is. The Pentacles are absolutely beautiful. The 5 breaking it up. The 6 mirroring. I really want to see that mirroring there. I want the 7s to be the 4 at the bottom and the 3 at the top versus the other way, because it's from stability into motion. So the 4 is a stability, the 3 is that kind of movement number, that first creative motion forward. The 8, the 9 breaking it, and then the 10 again back to mirroring. So that's important to me. The Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King in there looking at each other, which I like. And then we have the Cups, choose. Just beautiful. I just think these are gorgeous. I love this imagery in the threes where it kind of looks like fallopian tubes because it's about creation. So I just love that. 4, 5, 6. 7 is a little bit different in cups than the motion of the 4 to the 3, which I do like to see. Let me look and see. 6. I know I'm going to have to do a lot of chopping, but that is the same as my other one. So, whoops. So again, that's something I really did look for. I was looking for the pips not to be changing much since I'm really working. I want to kind of keep that, and I love the 3 to 3 to 3, and the cup over the top. So it's just quite traditional. Here is the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups, the lovely Queen of Cups, and he's looking at her, but she's not looking at him, and the King of Cups. So there we have it. These obviously don't take as long to run through because there's a lot of pip cards there, but I'm really excited to have this particular version of the deck that I'm not really so worried about. So there's my other one. This is my baby. Throw those out. I don't keep art. Well, I do actually keep them as testers for clipping corners. Whoops. All right, now I got these all thrown off. There we go. So, I mean, the cardstock feels really nice. It's, you know, it's Los Scarabeo. It's typical. It shuffles wonderfully. So I can get a really good shuffle, which I can't. Yeah, I'm very careful, obviously, with my Marsiglia. Somebody need to tell me how to say that correctly. There is a deck that is a skinny little deck by El Menegallo, which is called La Corte, I think, C-O-R-T-E, and it has a picture on the very front of the box. It's in gray, and it has a little moon with an owl sitting on it. That's my next more pricier deck purchase because for Marseille, because it is the cutest deck I have ever seen. And I want it. I will be getting it eventually. But first start was to get a deck that, again, I could just be rougher with and that followed the pips that I like or that are similar to this style pips, because that's important. Okay. So let's take a look. Beautiful star. And the 4 of having hope that stability is coming. But we don't want to go too far into being too traditionalized and too much into conformity. So it's that idea of that our true hope and the true way we should be working towards is stability, not conformity. That's just kind of what I see in the nutshell there. And then we have the Queen of Wands with the 2 of Swords. So there is a creative choice to be made, and it is really, this is the essential of the whole wand suit. So it's this choice to really let loose the full potential of my creativity. So there is a really quick little reading, but look how gorgeous those are. I'll just lay some more out just to, that is a beautiful version of the Marseille deck. So I just wanted to show that real quick. I know a lot of you don't, read with Marseille deck, so this is probably of less interest, but I am doing a weekly series. This week's one will be the court cards, and so I did want to show this just because I absolutely love this. It's gorgeous. And it's gorgeousness. So this has been a quick look at the Ancient Italian Tarot by Lo Scarabeo. You can pick this up for under $20 on Amazon, I would say. I want to say it was $17 maybe, or $18. and it's just gorgeous. And look at that again. I adore that. So yes, there you go. Okay, I'll talk to you later.